welcome to the Parenting versus Podcast.
Why do you... What was so funny about that?
I don't know.
You got the giggles.
Jeff's song kind of tickled me a little bit.
Emotionally?
Yeah.
You were emotionally tickled? And
Emotionally tickled.
There goes our dog again. Oh, and here goes our kids. Dad! He's inside.
Yeah. Oh. What did he say?
He said, what? He thinks we're yelling for him.
Oh, well.
He's going to wake up the other kids, though, if we don't go intervene, probably.
He'll come out here. He'll figure it out. He's 5. There he is.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, what's up?
Hi.
Hi.
I just got the last. I just got all of the power suits part of the game now.
Wow.
You did?
What game are you playing?
Wildcats.
Wildcrats. What do you do? And this is a favorite at our house. He likes the Wildcrats game from the OPB website. I said OPB. I didn't mean that. PBS.
It's just
Oregon Public Broadcasting is what I was saying.
habit.
Because it's just like when I was a kid. Yeah, so you like the Wildcrats game? High five.
And that one is a kind of fish that likes to be in the midnight zone.
In the midnight zone. That's Octonauts talk right there.
That's
Creature-
ocean something. Who are people?
Oceanography?
Oceanologists? Would that be somebody who studies oceans?
Like Steve Zissou? I mean, not that he's a real person. I wish he was.
Was he an oceanologist?
Bill Murray is certainly.
We should watch that movie
a real
tonight, by the
person.
way.
We still need to finish that other movie.
Idiocracy?
No, well, we need to watch that. No, we were watching the movie Dope on
Oh, yeah.
was it
Netflix, yeah.
Yeah, I actually really liked it so far from what I've
I'm
seen.
probably big enough to watch the movie Jaws.
You're probably big enough to watch the movie Jaws.
Yeah.
You've been sleeping in our bed for the past 3 nights, so I'm gonna go ahead and veto that idea right now.
Yeah.
Maybe next year.
Maybe
bud.
Sharknado.
Yeah, maybe. It's like a
Yeah.
shark and a tornado.
Yeah.
Together.
Go play one more video game. You have 30 minutes, and then you can come back.
Or
okay?
you can jump on the trampoline. Your choice.
Yeah.
Life's decisions are hard, aren't they?
Yes, they are. So,
I wish my biggest decision of the day was like, do I want to play video games or do I want to jump on a trampoline?
yeah.
That would be such a great life.
That would be. All right, little bro. Head out.
Daddy and I will be right back.
Okay. Do you know how to pick another game, or do you need help?
I don't know how to pick another game because it's like bar.
Okay, I'll
'Cause
go.
it's like, bah.
I'll go help him real
He
quick.
made the screen too big and now he can't find the button. I know what this is about. It's like, bah. That's 5-year-old for I pushed the wrong button and I don't know what I did. So, yeah, it's a pleasant evening here. We're sitting on our swing as always, enjoying the not so hot sun. It's starting to go down, which is awesome. And I hear crickets and fireworks left over from last night because last night was the 4th of July. Happy late 4th of July, America and everybody else. Yeah, we didn't do anything too crazy. We went to a barbecue and went to a show and watched the fireworks, which, I mean, I get it. Like, we're making memories with our kids. It's super fun and it's cute. But, like, chasing a toddler around a soccer field full of people and hot air balloons that are grounded is kind of terrifying. I'm not going to lie to you. They're like... Well, okay, so New Mexico is known for hot air balloons. We have the International Balloon Fiesta in October, and it's really pretty. Perfect weather, just gorgeous, and that's pretty neat. But the thing is, we're known for hot air balloons. So at every major event in Albuquerque, there's like somebody with a hot air balloon, usually, and they'll tether it up, and then the kids can like ride in it, or they'll gas the burners, so they go off and they're really loud, and really hot. So my 2-year-old was fascinated with it, and he's like, fire. And I'm like, yeah, stay away from it. And so, of course, he wanted to go like close to it. So we spent a lot of the night chasing our kids around the park. So it was kind of relaxing, but at the same time, it was like kind of crazy. We didn't get home until almost midnight, which was nuts. But they all fell asleep in the car. So that was the good news. I was just telling the podcast peeps about how in New Mexico, there's always hot air balloons at every major event.
Yeah. Yeah, at the 4th of July
Yeah,
thing.
that's what I was talking about,
There's
yeah.
like 8 of those burners or
And our
whatever.
2-year-old's like, hey, fire, that's cool. And we're like, stay away.
Yeah, or the other day when it was morning and I heard some crazy noise, and you're
It's
like,
like it's just nuts. If you can imagine a giant flame, like what are those things?
like butane lighters?
I guess, but like no, that's not what I mean. Like
Which ones?
Like a
Like a flamethrower?
maybe. I don't know what they're called.
I don't know anybody who has a flamethrower, but
Oh yeah, I know all my friends. They've got flamethrowers.
Yeah.
No, I don't remember exactly what it's called, but anyway, it's really loud. And there was a hot air balloon going over our house, and our dogs like freaked out.
yeah, they do not like hot air balloons one bit. Luke, or not Luke, but Diego.
You got our dog and our son confused.
There's so many names I have to remember.
Yeah.
Diego, he feels like he's like the defender of the universe, and
He's like the smallest dog ever.
he is.
Go figure.
And he lays down. He sits down with his little chunky little, like they look like turkey drumsticks, like sitting backwards.
Yeah.
Like,
Kind of
but-
sits like a deer, but he's got his little ham hocks in the air. He's like on a Napoleon complex.
he's like all butt,
That's basically it.
and like his this little like toothpick little legs like
Imagine
coming
a
out
sausage
of his
with
butt.
legs. That's our dog. But he's really funny because he has a big personality.
He does. He feels like he can take down a hot air balloon.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, for sure. So we did that last night, and it was pretty great, and we ate a lot of food. I ate probably way more
Yeah.
food than I should have, but it was amazing.
me too.
I
was
made
like
a
that-
trifle, 2 trifles.
Nay, 2 trifles.
Nay, I created 2 trifles on thus 4th of July. I don't even know.
I could go on with that for like
Please don't.
30 minutes with this. We could do a whole podcast.
Well,
in
it's
that.
funny because I told people I was making a trifle, and they're like, "You mean a truffle?" I'm like, "No, a trifle." And they're like, "What does that even mean?" And I'm like, Google it.
Nice.
It's a thing. It's a dessert. It's probably the most delectable dessert.
Food is good.
Of all the
So
desserts.
I follow the New Mexico True, like the, what is it called? The tourism thing. And there's a new, like, really fancy, like, high class New Mexican restaurant in Santa Fe.
What's it called?
I can't remember, but they were showing pictures of these chili rellenos, and it was like
Immaculate
Yeah, it
conception
looked
of
like
chili
art.
rellenos.
It looked like chili relleno art.
We should go to Santa Fe this weekend.
I'd actually like to go to Monica's Portal.
Oh, Portal?
El Portal.
I've never been. I've heard it's good. too.
Everybody talks about it, but
It's a little hole in the wall. Portal.
Yeah. Yeah. But
Somebody's smoking pot. It smells like pot.
a little bit,
Maybe it's our buddy who's camping out in the trailer in our neighbor's yard.
maybe.
I mean, I don't know.
They're
Maybe.
listening to us.
Well, if he's listening, could you please keep yourself downwind another direction? Yeah, I don't know. What was I thinking? Oh, I was thinking today about how you should run for mayor.
I should.
Yeah. You love New
That would be a
Mexico.
really hard
lot.
job.
Well, you know,
People hate Richard Berry right now.
I know they hate the mayor a lot. I actually think he's a pretty nice dude.
Yeah, he's nice.
Um,
He got an award for public safety or something like that.
yeah,
City
and
council gave him an award.
and a humanitarian.
Yeah, people flipped the F out
Yeah, over the ART project.
over just like the state of our city right now,
Yeah.
with crime and the police department and
But you know, to his defense, and I'm not saying that it's the right thing, but like, we're the poorest state, right? We don't have funding for education. If we don't have funding for education, how do they expect us to have funding for public
Yeah.
safety?
yeah.
You're not offering incentives. I mean, and honestly, like $1,000 hiring bonus for APD is not really that much of a bonus if you think about the crap they have to deal with.
Is that what they get? $1,000?
It's like $1,000 hire-on bonus.
I would compare us to other cities and like see what other cities do and see if it works and
Well, I think there's a lot of incentive, I mean, for other cities, and the training is also more intensive. I think the one thing that New Mexico needs to consider is better mental health training for their officers and for their public servants, because
oh, for sure.
we have a lot of mental health issues. I mean, everybody does, but like, I think here, especially because our healthcare and our education and our funding is so low,
Yeah.
you run into a lot of mental health problems, probably more
sure.
frequently than because
They're all
you don't
related.
have services.
It's all related.
Yeah, you don't have as many services, so you have
Yeah.
those people out on the street.
Did you see that video on the internet? It was I think it was a cop in England, and some guy came into a hospital, maybe it was a hospital, some sort of place.
Okay, so that
and
narrows it down.
he had a knife, and he was like holding the place up, and the cop was right there, and he had a weapon, he had a gun, like he could have just like pulled out his gun and this guy's threatening me. Boom, 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 shoot him.
Isn't
dead.
it like in the UK, the general public is not allowed to carry guns?
Guns are banned.
Right.
I
Officers
believe. I
can.
might be wrong.
And
Actually,
think
I don't think officers have them either.
Okay.
So this might be somewhere else. I might be thinking of somewhere else.
Well, I was thinking about that because it's interesting. Like, you'd have to learn how to verbally de-escalate somebody to get close enough to get a knife out of their hand.
Well, this is what happened. Like, the guy came in, had this knife. He was ready to, like, attack. Mm-hmm. The officer talked to him, didn't touch his weapon, just talked to him. And he talked to him for probably, like, 10, 15 minutes. Finally convinced the guy to hand over his knife. Mm-hmm. And as soon as he handed over the knife, the officer gave the guy a big hug. And, like, hugged him. And the guy, like, broke down and started crying. And they didn't file charges.
Wow.
It was a big thing, and it turned out that he needed mental health. He was super depressed, and like this was his last just strand.
He probably snapped.
Yeah, he snapped.
Well,
and it was really kind of touching to me, like, to see this guy, this criminal, I mean, quote unquote criminal, I guess, trying to commit a crime, and then like he was just like crying in this officer's arms, like holding him. I was like, I don't know.
There is some study, and this is so scientific, I can't remember what it was or where it was, but they were talking about how the longer people go without positive human touch, the more deranged and psychotic they can become, especially if they have mental health issues. Mm-hmm. And it's when you restrain people, especially when you restrain kids in like foster care and things like that, it's called a PRT. PRT. There's a way, it's called a prone PRT, and then there's another one. They teach you all this. I used to work at the juvenile detention center, and they teach you how to do it. But it's crazy because when I worked with foster kids in the system, we had to learn how to restrain them, but it was always like the way that it would be, the outcome would be like a giant hug. It would just be a very restricting hug. But a lot of times what that does is it breaks down that adrenaline rush that they're having.
Yeah. They're
able to think clearer, and it's that human connection. And so it's like it gets their body to kind of calm down and come back down from that adrenaline high. It's really interesting. It's kind of like when, it sounds crazy, but like when dogs get really overstimulated and they say you're supposed to hug them really tight, or they have those little hug things, it's the same idea.
Like during the 4th of July.
Yeah, no, it's the same idea. But yeah, it's crazy because even like when I worked in the juvenile detention center, sometimes you'd have students and they'd be like, "Miss, can I give you a hug?" And you're like thinking at first, you're like, "Okay, don't be creepy." We do side hugs, we weren't allowed to do. But like the thing is, these kids were juveniles and they hadn't had human contact like with their parents or anybody else for like a year. Human
contact is huge.
Yeah.
Like huge. We talk about this in education too. There's a documentary somewhere. I learned about this in one of my classes for special ed, but in Russia, there are so many orphanages, and like in one orphanage, there's like the documentary was showing just a huge room of all these cribs of these babies,
and no one picks them up, no one holds them.
Well, not a single baby was crying. It was like completely silent. And the reason is because these babies, because they don't know, I mean, babies, they can't talk to us, right? So they tell us, they communicate by crying. I'm hungry, I'm tired, I'm whatever.
They have a need that needs to be met.
But these babies were conditioned that crying didn't get them anything. So they were just in their cribs because crying, like there's no point in crying. So why do it? And so they weren't touched, they weren't held.
Their emotional needs weren't being met.
Their emotional needs weren't met. Like that's so important for babies.
I'm sure their neurological pathways were not developed.
That's exactly right. That's exactly where it goes. It's like brain development.
Yeah.
There are these connections that are made in our brain from an early age of just being held, being soothed, being comforted, being like, that's just part of our human need.
Well, do you remember when Luke was a baby and we were on those baby websites that would tell us like your baby's 2 months old or whatever?
Yeah, I still get those for Riley, by the way.
Yeah, they're like, your baby's 2. Get off this website.
No, it's like your baby's 2, and it was talking about biting. But every week they talk about something new about like language
what happens
or whatever.
When he's like 45 and they're like, your kid's 45. Tell him to get a damn job already.
Kick him out of the house.
Is he paying a mortgage? Is he nice to his wife? Jeez, that would be so sad. No, but do you remember that one that we read? It was like when we were first-time parents, and it was like when you kiss a child, there's some kind of neurons that ignite in their brain, and so the more a child is kissed, the more I think it's like the more intelligent
Yeah.
or the more stimulated, something about them being stimulated or intelligent, it's building those neural pathways. And it was like something about kissing their face and their head. It stimulates these little pathways in their brain when they're real small.
Right. Yeah, I heard about that too.
Really good.
I think you told me about that.
Yeah, it's a really good thing. So
Yeah. I kissed Juliet's face all over.
me too. And her tummy and her toes and her hands.
It's hard not to. She's just so
so dang
precious.
And that little girl, so our daughter's one. She's tiny for a 1-year-old, but she loved the fireworks last night. She was dancing and clapping and saying yay. Like, she was so excited. Yeah. And then our 2-year-old turned over next to me on the blanket and he said, "Those are pretty."
Yeah.
I was like, yep.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
It's kind of funny about Juliet too. If I kiss her face, she'll get her little hand with her little fingers and grip my beard and like yank my beard away from her face.
It's scratchy.
No, but like, she just doesn't want me to kiss her. Like, she just like, how babies do that.
Yeah, she's a sweetheart. I love her. That's so funny. It's interesting because, and I'll just kind of draw from like personal experience talking about, not having affection and stuff. I have 2 sisters that are adopted, and we don't have a relationship now, but growing up, they had a lot of emotional problems, and later in life, they were both diagnosed with reactive attachment disorder, and that's a direct result of basically not having your needs met as a child in those formative years, not being touched or cared about, or just not having your needs met, crying and not having anybody feed you or comfort you.
Right.
And so when they get older and they're able to kind of process like cause and reaction, they learn that crying and behavior ignites a response, but they learn it in kind of a manipulative way. So it's like, if I do this, I can get this. It's more of a survival tactic than it is an emotional one.
Right.
And so it's kind of sad because they have always had a really hard time forming genuine like emotional relationships. And that's partly just because when they were younger in those early years, their biological mom did not take care of them, didn't meet their needs, left them kind of on their own. They weren't nurtured at all emotionally. So,
and then they run into all these issues as adults, and that's just how they live. That's part of their life.
Constant crisis mode, and they don't know how to cope with like emotional relationships like at all. They're very self-destructive, and like it's just sad because they, my sisters have kids of their own. I have a niece and a couple of nephews, and they don't live with my sisters or anything, but they didn't even know how to parent naturally. Like, you always feel some natural like love towards your child, right. But it was like they just didn't know how to do it. It did not come naturally to them because they had never experienced that themselves. So it does impact people way beyond their formative years. It creates a cycle,
Right.
It's sad.
Yeah, for sure. And as a special education teacher, I can tell you I see that with my students too, all the time.
Well, it's so funny. Like you hear about parents, and you hear about like there's different types of parents, and you can look up on all those fun little websites like what the different types of parents you're going to run into are, and some of them are pretty funny. The granola mom or like the crunchy mom or whatever.
Right.
But
what's a crunchy mom?
Same thing as a granola mom.
What's a crunchy?
Like crunchy, like granola.
Oh, okay.
Hippie kind of.
Okay.
Only give my kid organic food.
Like crazy armpit hair?
Maybe. I mean, if you want to stereotype.
Like a wool knit hat?
Perhaps.
Like no bra?
No bra, maybe some Birkenstocks, perhaps.
Drives a 1987
Volvo.
Toyota Tercel wagon?
Maybe. Definitely. Yeah. Listens to Fish.
Oh, dear Lord.
There may be a dreadlock or two.
Or 2 that she doesn't even know about.
Maybe one's just there by chance.
We're being mean.
Let's not judge other moms because honestly, being a mom is the hardest job ever. And if you want to have dreadlocks, damn it, have dreadlocks. Like, you're doing a hard job. If it makes it easier, then go for it.
I wish I had dreads.
I used to want dreads too, but I'm super.
You'd be
white.
like Ross Trent.
Yeah, I'd be like a Trustafarian, except for I don't have a trust fund, so I'd just be a poser. I love that video, by the way.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Andy Samberg.
He's like the next generation at it. Adam.
Yeah, I guess
Sandler.
that's where my brain was at.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know The Lonely Island and like some of his SNL spoofs from back in the day are hilarious. They're still my favorite.
Yeah.
Threw It on the Ground is my
stuff with Michael Bolton. Did you see the Michael Bolton video where he was playing Michael Bolton from Office Space?
Yeah.
Did you send that to me?
I might have.
So Michael Bolton in Office Space, he's like a nerd. He hates being called Michael Bolton, but they redid it. But they
Michael Bolton, like the singer.
Yeah. Oh. Are you related?
Yes, because people that have the same name obviously are related. Because have you ever thought about that? That makes no sense.
Yeah.
Like, if you were related, would your relatives give you the same
Yeah,
name?
exact same. Well, maybe like George Foreman named all of his kids George Foreman, like all, and he has like 9 kids.
Actually, okay, maybe that is common because I knew a guy. No, Aaron Cerna, this is for you. My friend Aaron dated this guy in high school. His name was Richard, and Richard's dad's name was Richard, and his brother's name was Richard too. And we thought he was kidding, and then we. And he wasn't kidding. They were all Richards. It was just a bunch of dicks. Sorry. I had to. It was a low blow.
I just farted. That was weird.
Yeah. But it's funny because, like, all these parents, like, to go back to that psychological development now that we've gone all the way around again.
Full circle.
Michael Bolton and back. It's funny because, like, you have some parents that are, like, you know, they get their kids into, like, guitar lessons earlier. Like, they do all these things to ensure their children are uber successful, and like, oh, my 5-year-old knows 4 different languages and plays the classical violin, and you're like, cool. Mine can finger paint, and he sings Joshua Giraffe, like, whatever.
Yeah, or he uses a spatula as a guitar.
He did that, yeah.
As he has popsicle stains all over his like mouth and stomach.
He looked like a savage.
And like leaves on his diaper.
Yeah, he really did. He looked like he came straight out of the Amazon.
He's like, Daddy, a guitar.
With his little red stained popsicle face.
He's 2.
Yeah. So it's crazy because people go to these great lengths to make their children successful, but really what you need to do to make your children good people is love them. Like, they're already ahead of the game if you show them affection and you love them and you teach them to be good human beings.
That's
like,
true.
you don't have to pay for all these extracurricular things to make them exceptional human beings. You can love your children.
Yeah, that's true.
And you're gonna make them smart and nurtured, and you're already a step ahead of the game.
Yeah, and we complain about your mom and dad a lot.
Do we?
Like, I mean, sometimes we do.
Maybe that's you.
Maybe I do, whatever. But they are very loving people, and I do admire that about them. And we complain about my parents too, but they love too, in their own way.
Yeah, I think children know when they're loved. Kids know when they're loved and when they're not loved or not wanted. They're really perceptive, and it's kind of funny. I used to work at a after-school program with first graders, and some of the stuff they would say to me was like just the funniest thing ever.
At Heights?
No, at Coronado.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, my core group was first graders, so I was the first grade instructor, and
yeah. By the way,
they were hilarious.
In my TESOL class, everybody was like raving about Coronado and how awesome it was because it's teaching English to second.
It's a 90-10 school.
Yeah, they were talking about how amazing it is.
Yeah, 90%.
Like, okay,
90% of the school, and their school day is taught in Spanish, and 10% is taught in English.
Even like non-English speakers, right? They learn Spanish basically there, don't they?
Yeah, no, they will be semi-fluent in Spanish.
And it's like a waiting list, isn't it?
There is a lottery. It's a public charter school, so it's a lottery process.
Through APS.
Through APS, but it is a great school. My friend's mom is the school nurse. Hi, Kelly. She's awesome. Her office is super cool, by the way.
Is it?
Yeah, she's got all kinds of goodies in there. But it was a fun job, and it was so funny because the first graders were like super honest. Like one time I came to work with like, I think my hair was really poofy or something, and they were like, "What's wrong with your hair?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" And they're like, "You look weird." Like,
jeez.
They had no qualms about being straight up honest, and I was like, "Well, I appreciate your honesty." You know, even if it wasn't invited, I appreciate the fact that you were honest with me.
Yeah. It's like the Bill Cosby show, kids say the darndest things.
Yeah.
Except Bill Cosby's in trouble right now.
One time, I have to tell you, this is so funny to me. And I didn't understand it until I had a 5-year-old. Now I get it. So these 2 little boys went into the bathroom, and like only one of them came out. And I was like, where's the other one? Like, he's been in there a long time. And I was like calling his name, and then the kid that had come out was like, "Miss D, he's pooping."
Were they whispering it? Okay.
He came over and he's like, "He's pooping."
Wow.
And I was like, "Okay, thank you for now. I know. I will leave him alone."
So
Like, good information.
I don't know why, but like something came immediately to my mind. I went to a school in, it was between Edgewood and Moriarty, called Mountain View Elementary School. May it rest in peace, it's no longer there. It was a nice school, but I did not want to poop in the public bathrooms. like in the bathrooms that had like multiple stalls. I was just so embarrassed. No. I transferred from Santa Fe to Moriarty schools when I was like in the fourth grade.
Embarrassed?
I think I was fourth grade.
What did you think people did in the bathroom?
I don't know, but I really had to. I really had to poop. I was a husky boy, and I had a turtle head. Have you ever heard of that? So I just really just had to poop, and there was. I did not want to poop in the stalls because I didn't want people to see me.
My drink
see my
is gonna
feet.
come out of my nose and it's
Like,
gonna hurt.
Yeah. But there was one.
Look at you right now.
There was one bathroom that was on like the other side of the school. And this was a pretty big elementary school. There was one bathroom on the other side of the school that was a one-person bathroom. And it was like the best bathroom on campus. Like, you can lock the door, you can secure it. You knew
secure your territory.
You knew it was private. You knew nobody would ever come in.
You had peaceful
You didn't have to share a room with people as you pooped.
So ridiculous.
And I walked all the way across campus. Like, I really had to poop.
Okay, yes, you said that several times.
And lo and behold, it was locked. Somebody was in there.
God forbid.
The other husky kid at Mountain View was pooping. So
Why didn't you guys have a poop pact?
I don't know.
Why didn't you guys form a partnership?
We should have like scheduled our poops. But I did a lap around the whole school, which is a pretty big school.
Our moms don't listen to this.
I hope they do, actually. Hi, Sue. So I did a lap around the whole school, past the principal's office, Miss Bacadutri, said hi to her, went all the way back around. It was still locked. He was still in there. And I think eventually I got in and pooped. And then, actually, this is so crazy. Bro. I still know this to this day. Our classroom had a sub that day, and we were watching Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
That probably didn't.
The Gene Wilder one. Yeah.
The Gene Wilder one is way better.
It was. I mean, the Johnny Depp one was way after I was in the fourth grade.
I
but
maybe thought that old school Gene Wilder was a little bit attractive. Still do.
Like creepy Wonka Gene Wilder.
No, like just those blue eyes and that sense of humor. Well, maybe. I mean, I'm kind of a weirdo. I guess, yeah.
Huh.
He
and plus, you do love candy with all your heart.
Right. So there's something there. I feel like it's my deepest...
You just wanted to go to his factory and use him for his factory.
What are you doing? Hang out tonight at your house? How about a drink from that chocolate river?
You want to make an Oompa Loompa feed me chocolate?
Just don't take me on that creepy boat ride. That caused some nightmares. That was like nightmare fuel.
Yeah.
That centipede going over the guy's face. Oh my gosh. To this day.
I don't remember that.
Well, we might have to rewatch Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory because that is... I am not okay with that.
You're not? Okay. I'm not okay with centipedes at all either.
Oh, they're so gross.
Yeah.
Dude. They're so gross.
Yeah, living in Moriarty, we had some pretty nasty centipedes.
I don't understand why they exist. I just I want them all dead. I don't honestly.
They have their use. Everything.
What do they do? They don't do anything.
They're part of an ecosystem.
Oh, they walk around being creepy? Are they the creepers of nature?
I might be wrong about this, but I think they eat dead matter. I think they're part of our...
well, then they're definitely
detritivores. Detrivores?
That's disgusting.
They eat dead matter. They're like mushrooms, but they're insects. They're like worms. They just eat... Or maybe they're carnivorous. I don't know. I'm not sure. But
no.
All I know is they live underneath... rocks, and
they remind me of the sex offenders of the insect world.
Why?
Because they're just creepy. They look like long little mustaches with legs.
I hate centipedes. Do they have centipedes in Oregon?
If they do, I don't remember. I'm sure they do. You know what we used to have there? Well, I'm sure they're still there. It's not like
the Californians scared them away or something.
No, they used to have these little tiny salamanders. Teeny little salamanders, and they'd come out when it would rain, and they had teeny little tree frogs too, this big, teeny little guys, and we would catch them. After it would rain, they'd come out, and so you could catch them. Usually the salamanders were under rocks, but if you were quick, you could catch them. Salamanders, though, they as a defense, they lose their tail. So they would.
And they can grow their limbs back.
They can grow back. Yeah. So they would lose their tail. Like if they got scared, they'd lose their tail. So sometimes if you'd catch them and you'd go in the little cage where you put them to find them, you'd see the tail and you'd pull it out, but then there wouldn't be a salamander. It would just be the tail.
Just be the tail. Yeah.
For some reason, that's not creepy to me, but you know.
And that's just the way things work.
No, but tree frogs and salamanders are pretty cool.
Amphibians.
Amphibians, yeah. And then we had raccoons, and they're mean.
Oh, I actually saw a dead raccoon on the road here in Albuquerque.
Really?
Yeah,
I haven't seen
a couple
any
weeks ago.
raccoons here.
Raccoons are pretty cool. They can.
They're mean.
They can
They're
sense.
little
They
bandits.
are little bandits. They can sense with their hands. Their hands have an extra sense in them. Like they feel around with their hands.
They also like to dump your trash out like a bunch of jerks.
They're just trying to survive. Leave them alone.
They're nocturnal.
Yeah.
One time there was some raccoons sleeping in a tree in our backyard, and my brother and I decided that we wanted to wake them up. So we were throwing pine cones at them and rocks, trying to get them to wake up. And my dad came out and yelled at us because he's like, "What are you doing? Don't provoke it!" And we were like, I was like 7. Like you can't. I mean,
that's just what 7-year-olds do. Right?
well, I'm not gonna be able to throw a rock that high anyway.
Right.
But it was like, yeah, my dad was not having it. He was like, "Don't do that."
Right.
But yeah, raccoons used to get into our trash all the time. Drag it all over the yard, just string it across the yard. They don't care.
No, they don't. They don't give a single F.
None whatsoever.
No F's given.
Raccoons are like rebels. They're like the punk rockers of the nature world.
They
really.
kind of are. They're like, I'll live in the city. I don't
Anarchy.
care. I'll live in the forest. Who
Pure
cares?
Anarchy.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yep.
So
That's fun.
we just talked for like 10 minutes about raccoons. You realize that?
Right on.
Okay.
Right on.
Yepers. So I think we've reached the end of our line here.
Really? I can go for like 20 more minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, it's 32 minutes in. I guess I should stop.
Yeah.
This is what the heat does to you. It's so dang hot during the day. It fries your brain a little bit, and then.
Well, to be fair, I don't think it's been as hot as it has been that week.
No, it's
that
definitely
week
hot.
was that week of hell was pretty nasty.
Oh, I was supposed to deliver something today. I forgot.
But it's not too bad. It's not too bad now. 90s.
Yeah, it feels good out here now,
90s.
but I don't know.
Yeah.
So.
Everybody complains about the heat in Albuquerque, even us. The only time I complained about the heat in Albuquerque was that week it was over 100.
We got a rainstorm at my work today. Did you get rain over
Yeah.
here?
There are a lot of misconceptions about New Mexico. Can I just talk about misconceptions about New Mexico?
Sure, you wanna?
And they are going to be forever misconceptions because nobody's going to ever find this out.
Misconceptualized?
Yes. So, misconception number 1, New Mexico is Arizona.
Yeah, that's all the time. People
That's
think we're Arizona.
not the case.
Oh, it's Phoenix.
So,
No, I don't live there.
people, and misconception number 2, well, maybe people just have no idea about what the weather is like in Albuquerque. Yeah, they got it right. It's dry. It's dry here. It doesn't rain very much.
It's high desert. Look it up.
It's high desert.
We get snow.
But
get rain.
we get a lot more rain than like a Phoenix or a Tucson. But we are also a lot cooler than them. Like the entire summer in Phoenix and Tucson is over 100 degrees.
That's so
the entire
disgusting.
summer. There are some summers when we only have like 1 or 2 days. Most summers are 1 or 2 days above 100 degrees. It just so happened our freak summer this summer, which by the way was our 5th or 6th hottest summer, hottest June in history. Yep.
That's bizarre.
Yeah.
Bizarre.
So there's a lot more misconceptions. I'm not going to go into them because they're boring. But
Well, yeah. I don't know. Before I moved here, I had no idea what to expect. Like, people thought we were donkeys and wore ponchos and stuff.
There's a lot of
People don't know
outdoor
what to
stuff.
think about New Mexico. They're just kind of like, that's weird.
Yeah.
It does make it for good conversation, though. If you're like at a bar, like in another city, and you're just
yeah.
talking to somebody.
Yeah.
Usually you get a lot of, oh, what's that like?
Yeah.
And you're like, wouldn't you like to know?
Yeah. For me, I get very. If we start talking about New Mexico, I'm on like high alert. I'm just like, okay, cool. Let's
Code red, code
let's
red.
talk. Let's talk. Yeah, it's like in what's that movie, where they have the emotions in their brain.
Oh, oh my gosh, why can't I think of it? It's a Disney one, and I just
Was it?
watched it the other day.
Oh, what is it called?
It's
With joy and
Yes.
anger and
Inside Out.
Inside Out. Yeah.
Oh, why do we?
So you know how the boy, when he saw the girl, he's like, girl, 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 and it's like
Yeah.
code red. As
Yeah.
like New Mexico is mentioned, I start
Code
getting
reding
into that point. Yeah.
your brain a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny because like New Mexico is just obscure. Like there's not really one thing or two things you can say to define it. Like that's the thing. Like and then you can always, and that's the funny thing too. You can always tell the tourists. And I know you get that like everywhere you go, but like especially in Santa Fe. What?
I was just thinking about the Dumb and Dumber meme where they're in Aspen and they're wearing like the hats and like the leather, like the frilly leather and like all the Native American patterns, like how they go all out. Yeah.
No, that's, yeah. In Santa Fe, it's pretty funny in the wintertime, especially because the tourists will like bog down on that turquoise, like big time. And then they like wear their furry crap and their hats and their boots. And it's like, dude, only tourists and Texans dress like this.
Yes.
And maybe Southern Californians. Maybe, depending on what part. But like New Mexicans don't dress like that.
Nope.
Like we don't do that.
Yeah.
But you do, and you buy it, so that's what keeps our economy going. I guess.
Whatever. Thank you. Thank you guys. Yeah, we're just normal people. We just dress like everybody else, I guess.
We do.
But like maybe 5 to 6 years behind you.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, when I moved
I'll wear
here,
my Hollister shirt like next year probably.
when I moved here, people didn't know what digital cable was.
Digital cable?
Digital
I
cable.
still don't know what that is.
Like digital cable.
Oh, like cable, like in your house?
Yeah, like when I moved here, it was just when you were getting like what was that?
I thought it was like a band or something.
No, like on demand kind of stuff, like movies on demand, like where you could, you can click down, you can buy the movie, like on your TV.
Right,
What is
right.
that called? I don't, pay per view.
Maybe.
I don't remember. Anyway, something like that. And I remember trying to explain it to like people in my high school, and they were just looking at me like, "That's real? Like what kind of crazy utopia is that?" And I'm like, "This is real life, guys. Where have you been?
Like, what is a television? Tell us about this television.
This newfangled contraption."
Hey,
Hey, what's up, bro?
I did Sesame Street dinosaurs, and I clicked the bubble of the moon, and he had to make the dinosaurs red.
That sounds awesome.
So covered it with leaves, and then pressed the birds, and then it would speak.
Sounds very awesome. And guess what? It's time for you to go to sleep. Hey,
Yeah.
did you want to sign off with us and say goodnight to everybody off in Radio Land? It's not really.
You don't? Okay, fine.
Come here.
I just want to stay up all night.
You just
Do-
want to stay up all night?
Do you
Oh,
want to
man.
rock and roll all night and party every day?
I do
Yeah,
like
that
your shirt
sometimes
though.
Happens.
He's wearing a C3PO shirt. No, that's a
BB.
BB-8. Yeah. The new Star Wars is really cool. I can't wait for the new one. The new one.
The new.
The new one.
All right,
So-
everybody. Well, it is bedtime for this bonzo. We have far exceeded our time on this podcast.
Yep. So we'll catch you
Sleep
guys.
well, sweet dreams.
Sweet dreams.
Nighty night.
Wherever you are.
Robot T-Rex.
Sweet dreams, Robot T-Rex. All right. With
Good
that,
night.
we're out. We'll see you guys on the next one.